You are live.
It says you are live. Absolutely fantastic. Fantastic. Welcome, everyone. If you can hear me, it's Elisa James, and today I am hosting my interview number 2, experts interview with the wonderful Jimmi Bradbury I have with me today. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Jimmi. He is an amazing person. I've worked with him on and off now for the last couple of years. I met Jimmi at an event with the wonderful Brendon Burchard at a time in my life that I really needed a transition. I really needed to change something because I'd just been smashed to pieces by a divorce and a massive breakup at that time after 25 years of marriage. And when I met Jimmi, I feel very sorry for him at that time because I sat down with a glass of wine and I poured my heart out to him when I didn't even know him from Adam. And we just connected and had this beautiful friendship that grew over the next couple of years. Now, Jimmi was my coach in helping me transition my business online, which is now fully online 100%. All, you know, a lot of it is thanks to Jimmi. I had a vision that what I wanted to do, and he helped me get there. Now, Jimmy's background is quite unique. He's worked and lived all over the world for most of his life as a company director. Now, he lived in that 9-to-5 world like a lot of us do, and he followed that grind day in, day out. Then he decided that he wanted to change a few years ago and did a massive shift online. And now that's what he helps other people do. So today I'm very excited to welcome the wonderful Jimmi Bradbury. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Elisa, for having me. I really am very grateful. And I first of all want to acknowledge you for all the great work that you've been doing in helping people find that unique talent that they've got, which is their voice. And I want to acknowledge you for doing that great work.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, it's my absolute pleasure and jam. And we together, we're very similar in a way because we're both helping people get their voices out there, to be heard, to share their message with a much greater audience. And you can absolutely do that when you have an online presence. But most of the people that I meet, even if they're entrepreneurs or business owners, they're struggling a little bit to get online because they're a little bit afraid of being seen and heard. And when they get to the video stage, they sometimes can drag their feet. So that's why I love the way that we work synergistically together, because you help them get there and I help them smash out their video goals. I love the synergy that we have. So tell me a little bit about your journey, like how you started and what was that transformational, pivotal moment that you said, that's it, no more 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm. Well, some background is that I worked for 25 years in the corporate world. A background architecture, surveying, and I worked there for a lot of the time in the UK, in London, but I also lived and worked in New York, Los Angeles, Manila, Hong Kong, Mumbai, India, Dubai, and Australia, which is where I am at the moment. And I did that for 25 years. And then in the latter part of 2016, 2017, I began to see these people out there who were online sharing their knowledge and experience with people, and they were doing it from their own home on a laptop with no staff or very few staff. And it was just amazing. And I thought this was something I'd be quite interested in doing. So I got into doing the research, and then I started following some of the people. And you mentioned one of them who particularly has inspired me, Brendon Burchard. I bought some of his programs, and then I guess the transformation really was when it was, when we actually met, which was 2 years ago, almost to the day, in San Francisco at one of his Brendon Burchard's live events. And it was just phenomenal. There was somebody out there that was talking about, being online from the perspective of having done this now for 15 years. And I, to be honest with you, was never aware of this space before, ever. Wow. And that probably was the transformation for me, because at that moment, over those 4 days, I saw something that I didn't ever know about really beforehand. And I thought to myself, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go all in on doing it. And at that moment, 2 years ago, I said, I am not going to spend any more time in the corporate world. I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. And that's what I committed to doing myself. Now, it hasn't been easy since then, and it hasn't been straightforward, but that was the transformation. That was the time.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And these days, I think we were very lucky to start early because we got ahead of the game really, really quickly. But right now, in the middle of where we are, is also a brilliant opportunity for so many people with COVID. It's been incredible, the amount of people that are coming through right now, rethinking their lives. Yeah. They're rethinking everything. Not only do we have the opportunity to rethink, our daily routines, our health practices, our mindset, our family relationships and values. Now we also have this wonderful opportunity to really rethink, do we want to go back to the office? So many people are working from home, and that working from home gives us the freedom that is, you can't compare that to a 9-to-5 job. I'm lucky enough to never have had a job ever in my life, and I love it. And I can't even imagine what it would be like to sit behind a desk all day and be trapped in a little cubicle and, answer to somebody else. And if you've been doing that, then Jimmy's the guy that can get you out of that. So he helps people transition from where they are right now with maybe a job to where you want to be, to have more freedom like we have in our lives. We can schedule things the way that we want. We can stay at home. We can go away. It changes everything. It just makes life so much more fulfilling and happy and balanced when you have the reins in your own hand. And that's what he does for people. It's an amazing gift. So the opportunity today, this is what you help people now with transitioning online, right?
Absolutely. And there has never been a better time to do it. Yeah. Because, as you quite rightly say, people are working from home. In many respects, they've actually given up control to the people that have either employed them or they had a business which is no longer in operations because of something that happened virtually overnight that has impacted so many people around the world. And by actually giving up that control, it puts you in that position where now you've got to look at other options. And one of the options I have seen is that actually, if you can take back that control, actually be able to decide what your destiny is going to be by doing something like what I do, which is being able to take your knowledge and experience and being able to be the go-to person with that knowledge and experience. And it doesn't have to be just my experience in the corporate world. It could be experience around a skill that you've got, a hobby that you're passionate about, and then being able to digitally put it into an online course or program. And then with the opportunity we have of the internet and social media to be able to then promote it around the world. Honestly, it just can transform your life, because for me, I spent 25 years where I read the statistic the other day where 96% of the people that are earning today, 96% of the people in the world today are trading their time for money, the paycheck or the fee, You might be a consultant trading your time for money, the fee or the paycheck, the salary. And 4% are actually leveraging off of things like technology to be able to do, like what we all can do is build a course once, and sell it multiple times. So much so that you're actually selling it to people who are buying it. And I'm experiencing it now when you're sleeping. And that is the amazing thing. And I think for me, like, if ever there was a moment where everybody can do this, this is the moment, because we've all got this talent within inside us.
Yeah, and experience and expertise.
Absolutely. And
so many of us.
Whether it's, one of my students just enjoys making cupcakes and she's got a way of doing it and she's going to transform people around the world with her cooking skills in a course that she's working with on me. Or it's a corporate CEO, or it's an Olympic athlete, whatever it might be. We've all got gifts. The issue becomes whether or not you've got the courage to be able to go inside yourself and find that gift. Because the flip side of that, unfortunately, is that we get to a stage in our life very late in life and we look back on our life and we recognize in that moment that we have these gifts and we never did anything with them.
Yeah.
And then it becomes too late. But now is the opportunity, I believe, with all of the things lining up, technology, the situation that we have with the pandemic, people working from home. It's a unique opportunity to do it now for everybody.
Oh, look, absolutely. And you know what? One of the biggest things that I've noticed, Jimmy, and of course you've noticed too, because you're in the same space, is that all of my life, much of my life, people have said to me, when are you going to get a real job? And look what happens in situations like this when you do have a real job. People think they're secure. People think that they have an amazing job with amazing pay. My brother is a great example of that. He's a pilot. Look who lost their job first. He's been a pilot for 40 years. He's worked in the top airlines all over the world as a captain, earning great money. He was one of the first to go in this pandemic. That was a massive shock to the entire family. Out of everyone, we always thought that my brother was safe, quote unquote, you know, but that happened to how many people? Now, that doesn't happen to us because we have the reins in our own hands. We're taking that control back, like you said. And that's one of the most important things that I can see, that these things are not going to be affecting people so much when you're online and you have more control. So tell us about some of the problems that you encountered along the way and the lessons that you learned to, you know, to overcome them.
Well, I think for me, the issue is that on the face of it, this looks quite straightforward. You know, the idea of working from home and being able to share your knowledge and experience with people around the world with no staff and being able to make multiple streams of income, on the face of it seems quite easy. But the reality of it is, like everything in life, there's no quick fix and there's no silver bullet, but there is a strategy, there is a process that you've got to go through. And I think for me, that lesson took a year because I actually didn't get help from the people I should have done to be able to find out what that step-by-step process is. And today I'm very fortunate to work with Olympic athletes. And when I talk to them, you know, they say to me, you know, they'd never be able to get to the Olympics without having a coach. I mean, some of them have got 3 and 4 coaches, but I think having a mentor or a guide to be able to show you how to get from where you are today really quickly, and knowing that process because that person has walked those steps before, I think is a big lesson I learned. And it was when I got that person to help me, then everything began to change. Yeah. And it kind of, you know, the message there really is that if you want to learn anything, the fastest way to learn it and be successful in learning it and then apply it is to actually have somebody who's just a bit ahead of you to show you how to do it. Trying to work this out on your own is very difficult, if not impossible. I don't know anybody who's been successful in this space, who's done it on their own without any help.
Oh, look, even Brendon Burchard and Tony Robbins have coaches. Yeah, I've heard them speak about it many times. All the top people that are all of our mentors, they all have coaches that are even above them. I mean, it's incredible that we're in a very big hierarchy, you know, of space where we have levels and levels and levels and levels where you can go. It's almost exponential. It's the world is your oyster, isn't it? It's up to our brain and our limitations and how hard we're willing to work, because it is hard. And it's not easy, and you do need help along the way, and hand-holding. I love the hand-holding that a coach gives you. It's the accountability that some of us need, because to turn up for ourselves, sometimes we just don't do that. Yeah. When we turn up for somebody else and we pay for that, we're going to make the effort. Yeah. And I think that's the perfect thing. It's like a swimmer will have a coach egging him on all the time while they're in the pool. It's exactly the same for us. We're providing that for our clients as coaches, which I think is very powerful. Yeah. I think the other issue I had was like what I think a lot of people face, and I had it 3 years ago. To an extent, I do have it a little bit, not so much now, but certainly had it 3 years ago when I was starting, was that, you know, you mentioned it earlier, I grew up in a society and a family that knew one way of doing things, which is, in the context of history, a very small percentage of history, in that we go to school, we then go to college, we then get a job, and we work in that job
for 40 hours every week for 40 years to collect at the end of that 40 years 40% of her salary, called a pension. And that working for the company or the organization is a relatively small thing in history. If we look back on history, the company as we know it, the corporation's only been going for 120 years. Before that, everybody works for themselves, which is where I think everything is going again now.
Right, yeah.
But in those days, they worked on a farm. So
Yep.
that idea of going to college and going to school and getting a job, people didn't talk about it then. They didn't, because that wasn't what was happening at those times. And it's only in the last 100 years, 120 years. Now, we've got a situation where people are looking at other options. And I think a lot of it is going to go back to working for yourself again. Not everybody, because companies will still exist. They have to.
Yeah, of course.
But I think there will be less of them as more people now take back control, because they see the control is being taken away from them.
Yeah.
And like I grew up with this belief that was only one way of doing it. So the issue, like as a second issue, was that the biggest problem I had was making that mindset shift to believe there was another way to be able to do things. And I think that is a big thing that people need to be able to do, that kind of almost like a paradigm shift mentally in mindset to be able to make that shift. Yeah.
No. Yeah, exactly. And it does take a shift, and it does take a new set of belief systems as well. You have to believe in yourself.
100%.
You have to have somebody guiding you. Yeah. So the solution is obviously to get a little bit more freedom in your life by bringing your gifts and talents online. So what are the next steps for people to scale, and what would be their big why? Is that a question that people struggle with?
I think, absolutely. I think they've got to get out of that mindset of believing there's only one way of, of living our life today. So many people today, they work in a job or have a business of their own to pay the bills, and then they mold their life around that situation.
Yeah.
And I believe that the way now to do it is, and which is what I've done, and I know a lot of other people have done it, is to be able to reverse that completely and say, what is the lifestyle I want to live? And how can I create a business that supports that lifestyle? And when you're able to make that shift, then everything opens up for you, because where we are today in the world with the technology lining up and the opportunities and the people and the connection that we have with people all around the world, we truly are in a unique time. So people need to be, one, aware that there are other ways of living a life, to be shown those, and then to be able to, if they want to do it, be able to make that mindset shift, to be able to then reach out, get help. And then I think for many people it's actually committing, like starting today, as opposed to saying one day.
Oh, yes. Yeah, exactly.
And that's what that people then get stuck, because one day we know never happens.
I know. Yes. It's so true. Look, it's the same when people come to voice training, and part of it is to bring something online or get a sales video done or prepare their next webinar or shoot an online course. When people say, oh yeah, I want to do that, and then the fear holds them back, guess where they are in 2 years' time when they wake up? In exactly the same position. Been there, done that, doesn't work. If something is niggling inside you, if you have that desire, something is telling you that you're meant for more, don't ignore that. Go out and take action and do something about it. That is there for a reason. That little niggling sensation of, my life is not exactly how I want it. Do something about it. Don't wait, because if you wait, life gets in the way. Shit happens. We come up with 10,000 excuses. Believe me, everybody does. And then we don't get it done. In 2 years' time, you're going to be calling Jimmy or me in 2 years' time. It's like, why waste your time and wait another 2 years? Get things done, jump in. One of my mentors has said, go with good enough. So for all the perfectionists out there, don't wait. Perfectionism is the lowest standard you can have. Why? Because you procrastinate. Because it's not perfect and you're waiting for it to be perfect. Well, guess what? There is no perfect. Just go out and get it done and do it with your heart and your soul. That's all you need. People will feel your vibration. They'll feel you. They'll want to work with you because of how you show up online. Super simple. Yeah.
Very, very true. Yeah.
So, Jimmy, what are the 3 keys or the 3 key things that people need to do next to actually get online? I believe you've got a gift and something exciting to share too.
I think the first thing is that I think the biggest, I wouldn't say problem, but the biggest thing I think people today have is that, and I'm included as well, even today, we think too small. We think
absolutely.
So the first thing I would suggest to people is that we dream big, because, and I'll give you an example, like, and when I was with Brendon earlier last year, you know, I was saying, well, I've got this Young Entrepreneurs Academy online course, 600 people came into it in the first 6 months, and it just blew me away. And he said to me, and I'll never forget it, and this helped me kind of, well, where's your next step? And I said, well, maybe I'll get a couple of thousand people in it. And he said, no, you can do 1 million people. And when he said that to me and I thought about it, and then he rationalized it, how I can do it, it all made sense. Like, there is not a single doubt in my mind, and I don't say this to brag at all, it's just to prove a point, is I have no doubt in my lifetime that 1 million people will go through my Young Entrepreneurs Academy online course, which is what I built last year. I have no doubt about that. And the great thing is I'll be able to transform the lives of millions of the young generation who need it today with what's in my curriculum. But it'll give me, as it gives everybody, opportunity to give all that back to be able to help the less well-off people, particularly the young generation today around the world.
Yeah.
And everybody can do that. So dream big is one. And do it with a sense of, you know, having intention with living your life rather than just kind of bumbling through life. Live every day as though it's a gift, because it is a gift. Like, we are so lucky to be here in this world today. Like, the, you know, the percentage chance of us being here today is just, you know, trillions to 1. But being intentional about how you live your life and then creating good habits around it, I think is really important. So that's number 1. Number 2 is take action today. Make a decision to do it. Yes. And don't say one day. It will be a mess. It was an absolute mess for me when you started, but at least you started. And the brain loves that when you actually start to do something.
And the universal energy loves it. Haven't you noticed when you actually take action, the universe brings things to you? If you believe in all that stuff, I absolutely do. It brings things to you in alignment with what you're already doing. It's incredible. Yes. Those synchronicities happen when you take action.
Absolutely. And take action today and say, today I am going to start, and in 2 months' time, I'm going to be here. And then the third thing really is just to get support to do it. Get somebody who can help you see the pathway, that has got the processes and has got the experience of doing what it is you want to do, going from A to B, and being able to get that reassurance that they can take you there as quickly as possible. My biggest lesson that I learned is I spent the first year of the last 3 years. So up until I went to Experts Academy, where we met in San Francisco, that first year before that, I didn't reach out to get any help, and I wasted a whole year. Like, I look back on it and I spent about 2,000 hours of my own time trying to go through all the programs and all of the courses and trying to do it myself. And that was a way. It was the learning process, absolutely, but I spent too much time doing that. I should have reached out to get some help early on. Yeah. And the dividends it pays you back is just phenomenal. Yeah. So those are the 3 things. Get on reverse order, get help, take action immediately, dream big with intentions every day, and create good habits around what it is you do, that you can actually feel as though you're actually kind of living a full life, really. That's
I love that. And I'm going to put all that underneath this post today inside the group, so people can get those little takeaways that are huge and really, really important. Now, share with us the challenge that you've got going on. Tell us a little bit about that. And I'll make sure
Okay.
that this goes into the link underneath. So check it out, guys. Click on the link and join Jimmi's challenge.
So next Monday, I'm going to run a 3-day challenge, which is essentially around helping people through my own experiences go from where they are today with no experience and being able to get online in a period of time. It's going to be free. It's for me just giving back to people about how I've done it. I think the big thing will be for people to hear about my mistakes so that they don't make the same mistakes.
Right.
And, for people, as we know, that learning is the first step to growth, that if you feel this is something for you, then I would encourage people to come in and at least learn, even if they're not going to take any action, which, for me disappoints me, because I think here is an opportunity like never before in our lifetime.
Absolutely.
Where we can take back control of our lives, be able to provide additional revenue and security and stability for our families. Like, wouldn't everybody want to do that rather than give it away because you've taken on a job where the boss comes in one day and says to you, I'm sorry, you've got no more work here because the business has gone under, or that person who owns the business, their business has gone under and they've given away control. The issue we've got today, this is such a big issue with the world now facing this problem, trying to say, well, the government will support me or this person will support me, is not a good move. You need to take back control of your own situation for yourself and for your family and do it in a way that's got a lot of intention behind it and say, this is it, I'm going to make it happen.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So guys, I hope that has inspired you today. All of these expert interviews are literally for that purpose. It's to inspire my Aspiring Speakers Club. And of course, all of our club members, our friends. If you found this helpful today, please share this video. You can share it across the pages. I'll also share it across my other Facebook pages if you see that. You can start a watch party with your friends. You can make sure that people get this important message. So if you know somebody right now who really wants to put together an online course and transition online to get more freedom, please make sure you share this video and click on the link below and join Jimmi's challenge. Very important. Take action. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been wonderful to have the expert interview number 2 with the wonderful Jimmi Bradbury today. Thank you.
Thank you, Elisa.
I look forward to chatting with you next time. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.